I think when we did our show, I think it was the best time to come through television. Television was starting at that time. I mean, they were laying the groundwork for what television is today. We were just, Carson was the groundwork for all of the Tonight Show guys that came after. I mean, Steve Allen and all those guys. And all the situation comedies were sampling what was funny. And I think in those days it was a lot funnier because we were dealing with things that were familiar to people. We were doing jokes that, people had either done, seen, or heard of already. You could sit with the family, and so many people would say, geez, the only time our family talked is when we were watching McHale's Navy.
Pretty baby.
Condition red! Condition red. Captain Binghamton's coming.
Binghamton? Boy, and the skipper isn't back yet. Well, don't panic. All right, now you take Kim Sue and head for the hills. The rest of you guys follow me and act natural.
In those days, you had good writing, and we hoped good acting, and it was kind of family affair. I mean,
well, remember, we always kept it pretty clean on the ship. And we always insisted that we have a clean ship,
Absolutely.
And I think that's what was wonderful about it, and everybody could watch it, and they still watch it today. That's the best part of it.
Yeah.
Still clean.
Yeah. I do once in a while watch the animal shows, especially during mating season.
How dare you watch animal shows?
I know. That's as far as I go. And I don't let the kids watch either,
Let's discuss what I first said to you when I came in, which I never told you while we were doing the show.
You asked me if I was gay.
Yes.
Okay.
You said what?
And I said no. No. What did you say?
What I really asked him was, I told him, and I said, I never told you this before I pass away or anything. I'm going to tell you, I thought you were great on the show.
You were.
I mean that about everybody.
I think we were all like our character, actually, as I look back.
Excuse me?
That's all right.
Excuse me?
You played that lieutenant to a T. Yes, sir. No, sir. Oh, I thought you were going to, wipe his behind for a while. Because he always had somebody, what?
To this day, I've never seen anybody do that kind of part sucking.
That's right.
Well, thank you.
But there's some kind of a signal there. Tell me what they're saying.
Yes, sir.
What are they saying? What?
Well, it looks as if someone is flashing a weather report, sir.
A weather report?
Yes, sir. The coast is clear. Bring booze. Got girls.
I know it. They've got my nurses. Those saltwater tramps are throwing a wild party on the base. Carpenter, get my boat.
Yes, sir.
Joe Flynn was wonderful.
Oh,
wasn't he, Ernie? I mean, God.
Yeah. He could cuss in front of people.
Oh yeah.
He in front of men, women, and children. I mean,
He could get away with it.
And get away with it. If we did it, they'd slap our face,
Absolutely.
But he got... everybody laughed. That's sweet.
One of the few times that we ever went over, we ate dinner one night on the set. And I don't think we ever did this, maybe 4 times. But they brought in a catering thing, and they brought in... and Joe Flynn always used to kid me about being the dumbest guy in show business, which was a title I created for myself, because I never got involved in politics or anything like that. We're sitting eating roast beef on paper plates. And Joe was talking about politics, and he said something about it, and I said, well, da-da-da. He said, you are the dumbest guy I know. Now, in the meantime, Joe was cutting his roast beef and cutting through the paper plate and eating the roast beef and the paper plate. And I said, well, I may be dumb, but I'm not eating my paper plate.
Yeah, you should have told him, the white is the plate.
Joe looked down and said, well, that's how dumb you are. It's very good.
That looks like some sort of an exotic casserole. What do you want to do? Me too. What? Beef, too.
I have to say it now, when I first went on that set and worked with you, you were the funniest man I've ever seen.
Well, the very first time that he ever came on. Remember, he was hanging on that line, and the boat stopped, and he kept going?
All right, men. I'm Ensign Parker. And...
I didn't realize that lake was only about 1.5 feet. Yeah, Jesus. God, was I surprised.
Yeah.
Well, let's
Well, let's ante up, get the old show on the road. All right, let's wing those pasteboards and make the plunge. You love that kind of talk. That's not bad, is it?
Care. Him some kind of nut?
Oh, you'll find out. Go get him, killer.
Right. Oh, Croupier, if you don't mind, I'd like to cut those tickets. Think you're messing with kids, huh, big fella? Well...
Carl, are you nodding off again?
I'm dozing off. I enjoy this.
Oh, okay.
It's like watching TV.
He's home again.
What about Carl with his cigar there?
What is this? Will you light it or throw it away?
Can't light it in here. Burn the joint up.
You always
Throw
found
it
a way to
out.
hide that cigar. You couldn't.
It's,
Can't smoke.
you got it from George Burns.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, George
Yesterday.
gave me this.
We should get up and do that paper trick for us. make that Christmas tree that you used to do.
Yeah, we could do that.
You still do it?
I still do it.
Really?
Absolutely. Nobody wants it, but I still.
He'd come up with more suggestions on how to make money, remember?
Oh.
And always the dice or
Unbelievable.
cards or anything.
We made some money.
Fine type merchandise to sell. We got Bortas bracelet. We got Witch Doctor mask. We got shark tooth necklace. You look, eh?
Just like I thought. Full of cavities.
Yeah, shark tooth will look pretty, not for bite.
Tell you what, Arulo. We'll give you, say, one genuine signal flag. A peace form. Your choice of colors.
One Christmas we were going to buy liquor for, for everybody.
Yeah.
So Carl said, I think I can handle this, right? So
Johnny
we're-
Sachs, was that his
We're
name?
figuring maybe probably about close to 18, 20 people. So Carl says, I can get that liquor for you. He comes back the next day. He says, I got the liquor. He said, unfortunately, we got to take the truck, too.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it fell off the truck.
No, it didn't quite fall off yet. Yeah.
I remember a diamond ring that was brought in. And I looked at it and I thought, gee, at these prices. And Joe Flynn said, don't. You could get caught with it. Oh, Carl.
In case you didn't know it, Carl Ballantyne at one time, he can still do it, was the magician that had the greatest act in the world. Every act he did failed, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That was his
You know.
Ballantyne the Great. He was called Ballantyne the Great. He said, no, notice the fingers never leave the hand. He said, oh, I'm going to do a couple of card tricks. The whole deck of cards would fall out of the
I
floor.
didn't quit doing it. In fact, I got 2 gigs New Year's Eve. Yeah.
One at 12 and one a quarter after, right?
Oh, one at 8. And one at 10.
Ah.
Because these guys got to go to sleep.
Oh, wow.
They're all 85 and over. It's a retirement home.
Parker! I warned you! The enemy's here. They're here. They're surrounded. We're all around the place.
Oh, I guess we forgot to tell them about Fuji, fellas.
Yeah, always some 8-ball who never gets the word.
A story I have to tell is I've seen Yoshi Yoda, who played Fuji several times in the past year, and he's become an American citizen. He changed his name to James Yoda. Yeah. And curiously, he's only allowed to spend 90 days a year in Japan.
But he's with Toyota, huh?
Toyota became the vice president of Toyota.
And you know something? We had some guys on there that went on to make pretty good names for themselves, like George Kennedy.
Oh,
yeah.
Hey,
Yes.
yeah.
And
Raquel Welch, her first show
Raquel
on
Welch,
television.
that's right.
And
Marlo Thomas.
Marlo Thomas.
First thing she ever did.
That's right.
Gavin McLeod.
Gavin McLeod was a little overweight, and I said, Gavin, you know, there's a new diet out. Gavin was a little gullible. I said, there's a new diet out, and you don't have to do anything. I said, all you have to do at night is to open the windows and let a lot of cold air in because it was winter. And I said, don't have any blankets or any night clothing at all. And your body automatically generates heat, which is burning off fat to keep you warm. And I said, I guarantee you that in a week you'll lose 10 pounds. Well,
he got pneumonia.
He did.
Oh,
yeah, he was off the show for a while.
He lost 10 pounds.
Of course, remember, Ernie was the only one who was really in the Navy, right?
Yes.
China sailor. He was a China sailor. He went to the Navy in 1935. Am I good again? 1935.
I think we all have to thank Ernie for coming out to do this show. Here's an Oscar winner who did From Here to Eternity, Bad Day at Black Rock, to Marty. I mean, talk about two ends of the acting field. And then to put up with all of us. I mean, he was the sweetest guy for all the time that we were doing this show and never said, if and or but about anything. You think that's good, just go ahead and do it. And you don't find many stars like that in the business.
Always knew his lines. Always knew his lines. He'd come early, learn them.
Always kind, always nice, always welcome people in, always made it part of the show.
Well, you're making me blush.
I'll tell you one thing. Ernie Borgnine, if you had a close-up and he was through for the day, he used to stay around so you had him.
And it makes a tremendous difference when you're talking actually to the person.
To the person that you did the scene with.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I remember one time there was a fellow who thought he was pretty much of a star and a wonderful guy. But he came in about 11 o'clock one morning, and then he said, listen, he said, have my stand-in work with Mr. Borgnine, and I'll come out and do the thing. I said, okay, fine. They told me about it. Said, where's my stand-in? Stand-in, come over here. And you go ahead, fellas, do it together. And they told him, they said, all right, I'll be right out. Hey, you got to do what they do.
Yeah,
that's
right.
Absolutely.
Well, that's the reason I always hung around. But I thank you very much, fellas, for that tribute. But I always felt that if you're going to be an actor, be an actor.
Be a professional.
Mm-hmm.
Be a professional. That's all.
I think that's the one thing that makes this show so good. You take any of the shows that had a communal cast like this, Andy Griffith, our show. I mean, those shows of that era, that whole cast was likable, lovable, honest, funny, whatever. And you take one of those elements out of there, and you'd be surprised how fast you miss that element. So they were fortunate to put it all together from the very beginning. It all meshed, it all worked, and you got a successful show.
Say, I don't get it, Groob. Who ever heard of a red crap table? Ain't it supposed to be green?
Makes it too hard to find the money.
The set at one time had been used by Marlon Brando in The Ugly American. And bless their hearts, Universal used to rent it out to McHale's Navy, which they produced. And they'd rent it out to McHale's Navy, and every week we had to pay for the rental of those huts that were falling apart, but they were our huts. And we were always on, stage 4 or 5, one of the two. And they always had to, pay for the rent on the stage.
And we had all these tour buses passing by, and they would come in right in the middle of a shot. And Ernie would always say to everybody, let's stop now and give them a wave every day. All right?
Sure,
Remember that?
We'd even get up on the bus and walk through the bus.
I don't know whether they still do that, but it took a lot of time out of a shooting day. Maybe we ought to talk about the boat.
They got it from Howard Hughes, believe it or not. It was one of the boats following that great big airplane when it took off, and then they put it aside for 16 years and never did a thing. And two fellas were living on there taking care of it. And along came Universal and said, we'd like to buy one. I said, we don't have anything like that. No, you got one. It says Howard Hughes. Oh, well, okay, we'll sell it. And the two fellas were out of a job. They hated us. And I remember going over to Catalina with it. And I tell you, we had a ball with that boat. We really did. It had 3 beautiful Rolls-Royce engines in it and everything else, and just flew along the water. And they made all those plates. Remember how we used to stand there? They'd have the screen in the back. They'd have the boat in the middle when we were dubbing, remember? And then they'd have the camera up forward with the screen in tandem. And the first thing you know, we'd get up there, and if they didn't like the guy at the time, we'd hit him in the face with some water because it was splashing, And that was fun. God almighty. I tell you, golly.
But on the set, actually, the boat we used never went off that back lake.
That's right.
And it was made of cardboard.
Always on cable, we took off just smoothly and then brought it back just as smoothly.
Nice. Well, somebody said to me once, well, gee, all that, like the torpedoes and all, was all from Operation Petticoat. Remember?
Really?
Oh, yeah. Eddie
damned.
told me that. Some of the stuff where you'd have the bombs coming in and hitting it, a lot of it was taken from Operation Petticoat.
I'll be damned.
Well, this show was a phony then. I'm beginning to find out a lot of things there. I believed in it.
Thought it was a real boat.
I thought it was a real boat. But these were real people.
Joe was right about you.
When Montaigne used to come down, he'd see the rushes. And one day I said to him, hey, these guys aren't making much money. Not that I was either, but today.
Can you imagine what you'd get today?
I got $5,000 a click. And that was it. It never went up or down or anything else, just $5,000 a click. But I told him, I said, why don't you come down and pat these fellas on the back? Mm-hmm. And, after all, they're working hard, And he said, I don't kiss anybody's.
Oh, my gosh. And I
said, I'm not asking you to do that. I'm just saying, just pat him on the back. Give him a little incentive to go again, No, we almost came to blows.
Oh, really?
We really did.
Can you imagine today if we were doing McHale's, you'd be getting $1 million a show, and then you would have said, all the boys must get at least $500,000. And we would have made a fortune.
You would.
Yes. Jeez, it's unbelievable.
I remember I own a little piece of it. I don't know whether you fellas ever knew it or not, but I own a little piece of it. They didn't think that it was gonna go at all, So they gave me a piece of the show. And by golly, through our efforts and everything else, it did go,
Wow, that's great.
It was news to me.
Yeah, me too.
News to me too, believe me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody should say something about why the show actually went off. Could have gone on for many.
It was in black and white, and they didn't think it was going to sell.
That was it.
That's right.
Yeah, in syndication because it was in black and white.
Right. And at one time, this whole series of ours, with the exception of one, was actually turned into color.
Yes.
Yeah.
By an Australian group.
Yeah.
Who went under. They went belly up. So they had to bring it back to Universal. So Universal has both the black and the color.
Yeah.
But hey, all in all, it was a
great.
wonderful time.
It sure was. It sure
The greatest.
was.
Yeah.
And at times, I'm glad we shot black and white.
Yeah.
Well, I got to call my agent.
Oh yeah. You think this will get us any work?
I doubt it.
All right, we're in session.
Yes.
We got the hat.
Actually, I don't know if people know this or not, but we are still doing the show, McHale's Navy. They are not filming it, but we go down every Friday and still do the show.
Yes.
So
I remember playing Captain Neptune through a goldfish bowl, and the fish would swim by, and they always had to go like this.
I would say Joan Rivers would play me. Seems to be a good mesh there of talent.
Absolutely.
Well, now, what do you say? How do you like it so far? Give us a hint. What do you think? What do you say? Yeah.
I don't think it's long enough.
You know what?
I'd go another hour.
It'll be 3 minutes.